Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on this Briggs & Stratton on a rototiller that has a surging engine. First, let's see how it runs with the surge. So generally, when you have a surge like that in your engine, it means you have some kind of dirt or plug in your carburetor, maybe your fuel line somewhere. Just installed this fresh new gas tank here, so I don't believe the plug's in the gas tank. I'm gonna go first, I'm gonna look at the carburetor, gonna clean it, and then I'm gonna reinstall it and see if that fixes the problem. So first of all, in order to get at the carburetor, we gotta pull off this plastic cover. First thing I'm going to check with that off is make sure all the air filter elements are clean. And it doesn't look like it's in really bad shape. What you want to do is knock this out somewhere far away from the engine. In order to keep your fuel line from spilling when you disconnect it from the carburetor, I like to just pick it up and then lay it up against something that will keep it pointed up in the air where the fuel will not feed, because this system is a gravity-fed system. Here we are at the carburetor. Can now unscrew it. Go, easy to get off of there. Alright, so let's take it apart, shall we? Oh. Out comes all the fuel. As soon as I can crack this bowl off of here. Boy, that is stuck. Might need to resort to other measures, such as careful prying with a screwdriver, but make sure you're extra careful. There we go. And as you can see, that rubber seal is very stuck inside this ridge here. Okay. Well, the float chamber doesn't look especially horrible, but you could definitely tell that there is some junk along the bottom here. And so what you can do with these to clean them out, there are a lot of different methods people like, but basically you take them apart, open them up, and shoot some carburetor cleaner through every single tiny hole in the whole carburetor. There's tiny holes everywhere. Just fill every single tiny hole with carburetor cleaner and then blow them out with compressed air when you're done. But what I'm going to do this time, since I happen to be out of carburetor cleaner, is I'm going to use my new ultrasonic parts cleaner. Now granted, if you're watching this video for help doing a job just similar to this, you probably won't have an ultrasonic parts cleaner. So that's why I brought up the fact that you can squirt all the holes out with carburetor cleaner and then blow them with dry with compressed air. And that almost always works, but I happen to have this machine fresh and new, and I also happen to be out of carburetor cleaner right now. So that's what I'm going to use. And for your reference, I believe I found the problem here. You can see that fuel passage in this jet is almost plugged all the way. And this one on the other side is partially plugged also. I believe that is the reason for our problem here. Then that's usually the reason for a surging engine, is a plug somewhere in the fuel system. You just have to find it and clean it. And in the batch of water and soap it goes. Lid doesn't quite fit, but it'll be fine. Alright, set for about 10 minutes will be good for now. And turn on full cleaning. Alright, looks like it's time to take the parts out. First of all, let's look at this float. That looks a lot better than it did before, I'd say. So there's so much grime on the body of the carb here, it didn't all come off, as you can see. But let's take a look down in here. It looks like the majority of the junk and chunks came out. Yeah, definitely. Looks to me as though this jet is very, very much cleaner than it was. Very much. All that white chalky stuff around it is gone. And especially the white chalky stuff in the actual jet holes is gone. That is very good. So I'm going to pour the water out on a paper towel so we can kind of see what I got out of the carburetor. It'll all collect on there, if it even pours out. As you can see, there's a lot of silt in there, and some of that's dirt from the outside of the carburetor. And at the same time, mixed in, there's going to be the actual junk that came out of the inside that was plugging everything up. So looks like it's time to put the carburetor back on the machine, but I'm going to clean that out first. Now, since we of course don't want to put a carburetor back together with water in it, I've waited for it to sufficiently dry. It should be perfectly ready to go back together now, and hopefully it's going to run properly. The thing you'll start with is just slide the needle in place on the float. Put the needle in place through its little hole there, the fuel inlet. Then slide the pin through the float. There we go. Now you can take the float bowl, put your gasket there, put the jet on over the gasket, and just tighten it down, which will hold the float bowl on. Okay. Before I put all of the components back on that cover the carburetor and the fuel tank and everything, I'm going to give it a quick test run. Choke on, throttle up. And there we have it. Looks like it's finished. Looks like I fixed the problem by cleaning the carburetor out. And now I'm just gonna put all the other parts back on.